she doesn't have those chances to continue to excel at work, see her daughters grow up. She won't get old. She'll be beautiful forever.
An immeasurable loss, an important legacy. Tonight, a husband and father shares his grief, honoring Caroline Huebner-Macarat, a life lost in a case of violence that shocked this city, killed by a stray bullet. His exclusive conversation with CTV News. Good evening. We will bring you that story in just moments, but we begin with developments in a scandal drawing worldwide attention. The resignation of John Tory amid an affair with a staffer.
Blurring the lines between someone's personal, professional, and political life, and whether any rules were broken. Toronto's Integrity Commissioner says the answer is yes. So what happens next? We have extensive coverage tonight, beginning with CTV's Natalie Johnson. Natalie.
Well, Nathan, the investigation reveals new details on Tory's affair with a staffer, including how that relationship turned from professional to personal. The Integrity Commissioner ruled that the relationship was consensual, but says Tory did breach the code of conduct. When John Tory stepped down from the mayor's office in Scandal last February,
permitting this relationship to develop was a serious error in judgment.
The Integrity Commissioner began investigating his affair with a staffer. A personal relationship that began in the summer of 2020 with a woman 38 years Tory's junior, identified only as Ms. A.
We had to investigate things like improper use of influence and discreditable conduct, which he might not have had to do had Mr. Tory reached out to him earlier.
The Integrity Commissioner revealing today that Tory was in breach of the Council Code of Conduct, writing Ms. A was not provided a safe work environment as required by the ethical framework for member staff. Mr. Tory put his private interests first.
The people of Toronto feel let down and disappointed the previous mayor's conduct. I share the same feeling.
The commissioner stressed, though, that the relationship was consensual, writing that when Tory's wife first learned of the affair, he told her he would end it, but the relationship resumed. The report writing that Mr. Tory first expressed his romantic affection for Ms. A and initiated physical contact with her, albeit of a limited nature. Ms. A said she did not feel pressured by Mr. Tory and reciprocated his affection. Mr. Tory had a strong emotional bond to Ms. A. Ms. A described Mr. Tory as being her best friend.
I mean, it's clear from this report he didn't understand what a conflict of interest was.
But the inquiry found no evidence that city resources were misused, and no evidence Mr. Tory improperly used his influence for the benefit of Ms. A while she was on his political staff. Tory responded in a statement today, saying he accepts the Integrity Commissioner's findings. I sincerely regret the impact my actions had on so many people in my life and on the people of the city of Toronto, who it was my honor to serve for so many years. I have tried to deal with this in an honorable manner, and I am looking forward to finding new ways to contribute to the success of the city I love.
John Tory's legacy is going to be forever intimately connected, so to speak, no pun intended, with the way that his time as mayor ended. I think that was true before this report. It is true after this report.
As for the staffer, the Integrity Commissioner wrote, Ms. A said to us 3 weeks after Mr. Tory's announcement, "It's been one of the worst months of my life." As for the penalty, the Integrity Commissioner ruled that there would be no purpose in issuing a reprimand, given that Tory is no longer mayor. Reporting live at City Hall, I'm Natalie Johnson. Back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Natalie. The commissioner also focusing on Tory's involvement in votes related to Toronto's effort to host matches in the 2026 World Cup. The staffer involved in the affair working for a company helping to organize the event. CTV's Sean Leathong is live outside BMO Field with that part of the story. Sean.
Well, Michelle, this part of the Integrity Commissioner's report focuses on two specific votes in council that Mayor Tory participated in, and they focused on the negotiations with MLSE and the City of Toronto. That will cost the city an estimated $90 million when it comes time to host the World Cup. They say that Mayor Tory voted in favor of things that would benefit Miss A, as she is known, and he knew that he should have done otherwise.
Improper use of influence. That is what the city's Integrity Commissioner says former Mayor John Tory did when voting on two motions in relation to the World Cup. In his report, Integrity Commissioner Jonathan Batty says voting on these matters was not consistent with the principles of member council needing to avoid real and apparent conflicts of interest and the improper use of their office for the private gain of someone close to them. Batty explains his findings about former Mayor Tory's relationship with a staffer who can only be identified as Miss A, beginning after Miss A had left the mayor's office to work for the Scarborough Health Network Foundation and later Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. The report saying Miss A wanted to capitalize on her political experience and join the private sector. Working at SHNF put her in close proximity to MLSE, her career objective. And MLSE wanted to have Miss A work for them on the World Cup because of her experience and contacts in the mayor's office. According to the report, Miss A began working at MLSE in a non-permanent role in the spring of 2021, focusing on trying to host the World Cup in 2026, saying, in April 2021 to August of 2022, Miss A was centrally involved in the steering committee supporting Toronto's World Cup bid. This was well known to Mr. Tory. His relationship with Miss A also resumed in 2022. Then in June of 2022, when Toronto's bid was successful, the city manager sought approval to negotiate an exclusive contract with MLSE for hosting services. Council, including Tory, voted to approve that recommendation. The city is expected to pay $90 million to host the 2026 World Cup. The report goes on to say, while Mr. Tory may have believed the community legacy and economic benefits of the World Cup were important, it is reasonable to infer that Mr. Tory, as a special friend and mentor of Miss A, had to have known that voting on these matters would be of direct benefit to Miss A's future with MLSE. And then, within a few weeks of that vote, MLSE offered Miss A permanent position.
You know, we already had a sweetheart deal between the city and MLSE giving up the commercial rights, and now we're in a situation where, maybe there was positions created to help, move things across the line. It doesn't help the situation for the city for sure.
Mayor Olivia Chow has previously expressed concern over money spent on the FIFA World Cup.
And Mayor Chow saying today that it was important for any dollar spent on the World Cup that they need to be done so in a transparent fashion. And she said this will be debated in council coming up in the next week, and they want to make sure that any dollar spent on the FIFA World Cup will be properly valued for the taxpayer. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leithong. I'll send it back inside.
Thank you, Sean. And our online team has full details with this story. You can delve into it further at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app.
Attention shoppers. Canada's major grocers say they have a plan to stabilize those sky-high food prices we've been seeing for months.
Ottawa wanting a commitment by Thanksgiving on Monday, but don't expect to see much immediate relief. CTV's Kevin Gallagher reports.
As shoppers stock their grocery carts for Thanksgiving, the price at checkout can be painful.
Definitely more expensive. Yeah, the price of turkey, the ham, everything is pretty much doubled up.
Today, Industry Minister François-Philippe Champagne says CEOs from Canada's top 5 grocery stores presented him with plans to address those high prices.
This is actually the beginning of a number of actions that we want to take to help stabilize prices in Canada.
Last month, the minister met with high-profile executives that control almost 80% of Canada's grocery market. Now they're promising to discount important staples, offer price freezes and price matching. All measures industry experts say won't address the root causes.
A lot of those pieces that were announced are things that grocery stores are already doing or might have happened without any government influence.
The minister is also promising to create a grocery task force to investigate things like shrinkflation, which is when packaging gets smaller but prices stay the same. He'll also create a data system to track prices and a code of conduct for grocery stores. All measures opposition parties say won't help consumers struggling to afford food right now.
So what will they do in the next 4 days to reverse the 67% increase in the cost of a turkey at Loblaws, just like they promised they would, Mr. Speaker?
This government doesn't have the courage to take on corporate greed when it comes to the price of groceries.
In a statement, the Retail Council of Canada says supply chain problems during the pandemic helped fuel high food costs. Now grocers are expecting inflation to cool over the coming months. The question is, will prices follow? Kevin Gallagher, CTV News, Ottawa.
Straight ahead, the homicide investigation underway in North York. A fatal stabbing inside an apartment building. The dramatic accounts from neighbors and the person now in custody.
Here's a live look outside on this Thursday. The cool down is underway after several days of heat and humidity. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the current conditions, also wet weather coming.
Yes, Nathan, we knew a change was on the way, and what's happening more imminently is the fact that we've had cloud cover, and now we are looking at some wet weather moving in the next hour or two here in the GTA, seeing some of those showers around Vineland and Beamsville. This is the heavier rain right now impacting areas like London and inching closer to Barrie. Winds right now not overly strong, but they are going to strengthen as we make our way through the night tonight, perhaps gusting to around 50 kilometers per hour. Now, it's not as hot as it's been, but it's still humid. It still feels like the upper 20s at this hour, and we will remain mild overnight tonight at 17 degrees. The big cool down, it happens this weekend. We're going to take you through the forecast and give you an idea of how much rain is in store coming up. For now, Nathan, back to you.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. It's been several weeks since Caroline Huebner-Mackarat was murdered walking in her Toronto neighborhood.
An innocent bystander. She leaves behind her 2 young daughters and husband. CTV's Beth McDonnell spoke exclusively with him about the family's grief and their next steps. Beth.
Michelle, no question, this is a family that's struggling. They're also incredibly strong. The pictures in the pretty sunflower patch are almost 1 year apart. A family of 3 that was a family of 4.
A lot of crying and tears and questions, and told them that I love them very much and that Mom's not going to be coming home, that she unfortunately passed away, and that we have each other. I'll be there for them for everything.
On July 7th, Caroline Huebner-Mackarat was struck by a stray bullet and killed. A 44-year-old wife and mother to Claudia, now 8, and Nella, who is turning 5. She was walking to go for lunch in Leslieville when Toronto police say 3 men got into an altercation, with 2 of them firing at one another. New officers now say it appears to have been a robbery, escalating to gun violence.
You never know when you may not be able to speak to someone again, and I know what the last few words I said to Caroline was, and it was something special, and I'll forever remember that.
Married for 9 years, Adrian Mackarat rushed to her side at the hospital and was there within the hour. He spoke with us in Haliburton ahead of Wilderness Traverse, a grueling 24-hour team race through the bush on foot, by bike, and canoe. First with Scouts and then through 20 years of adventure racing, Mackarat says he gained experience with adversity. It's helping him chart a new course.
As a navigator, I look at it as, breaking it down into these micro sections of, 100 meters or 200 meters at a time, and you do what you can in that little section, and then you replicate it. And if you do that over and over again, you sort of achieve your goal of getting through that stage as best as you can. And that's how I sort of relate to what my day-to-day life is like now.
In the days and weeks after the shooting, much of the public attention zoned in here to the South Riverdale Community Health Center. It's just steps away from where the shots were fired. Inside, there is a safe injection site, which some have blamed for unwanted criminal activity outside the center. Since the shooting, several changes have been made to reduce loitering and increase safety, including hiring security and putting up the large fence blocking the parquet next to the center. A woman working at the center was charged with accessory after the fact. 2 of the 3 men wanted as suspects have been caught. One, out on bail at the time, faces second-degree murder. Mackarat doesn't live far from the corner. He says he had no idea about the presence of the site, which opened in 2017 under a federal exemption as the opioid crisis was growing, and is meters away from a school and child care services. He gets his hair cut and goes to the shops nearby. He went back to the spot 1 week to the day his wife was fatally wounded.
That's where I quickly realized that the likelihood of replicating what transpired to Caroline just can't get replicated. It's a series of unimaginable events that just all came together for whatever reason that might be. We live in a beautiful, unique, multicultural city that has so many dynamic opportunities and challenges at the same time. Unfortunately, I got the short end of the straw on urban living, where city issues do exist. They're not you can't avoid them. Is there a perfect solution? I don't know of that one, but it's tricky to exactly, I don't think you could pinpoint it down to one thing.
Huebner-Macarat also worked at Air Canada as a senior manager, had 3 university degrees centered in teaching and technology, and traveled extensively.
Now it's about what she won't see, what she won't be able to accomplish, where she won't be able to go, what she won't be able to feel. I think what I'm going to miss the most is knowing that she doesn't have those chances to continue to excel at work, see her daughters grow up. She won't get old. She'll be beautiful forever.
Macarat says every year his wife followed the wilderness race from home. GPS trackers allow spectators to connect to a website and follow along. His team finished 8th overall.
I won't be able to talk to Caroline about the race, but I'll feel proud knowing that I completed it.
An online fundraiser picked up more than $300,000. Macarat says it's being invested for his daughter's education. This summer, he took them to Switzerland, then Poland, to visit relatives.
The most important thing is the health and safety and well-being of the girls, and I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to show them the world that Caroline would want them to see.
Macarat plans to follow the court process and believes those responsible will be brought to justice. He says there are metaphors with the sunflowers. Huebner-Macarat was tall, loved the sun and beach. Returning to the patch, he says, was emotional for him, but the girls were in a good space and surprise him every day.
So they're, I would say, doing better than expected for what happened. For myself, I mean, I don't have a choice. I'm managing as best as I can for not just myself, but for them, the girls, our immediate family, friends, the community. It's what I got to do every day.
Facing adversity, one microsection at a time. Tonight, the provincial government says it's putting a pause on new consumption and treatment sites as it completes a critical incident review of sites in the province. This review was launched after Huebner-Macarat's death. Toronto police say they've also increased patrols in the area since the shooting. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Now back to Nathan.
All right, thank you, Beth. And you can read more from Beth's interview on our website, including details on how the family can be supported. That's at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
Turning next to a fatal stabbing in the middle of the day at an apartment complex in North York. This remains a developing situation at this hour, and our Allison Hurst is live near Shepherd and Wilmington with more. Allison.
Residents are shocked by this one, and they're still out of the building, those who left, while officers comb through the crime scene, which is just inside the apartment building.
It's blood over the sword handle.
Video obtained by CTV News inside the apartment building shows a man being led away by police in handcuffs. Officers have not confirmed this man's identity or possible connection to the city's latest homicide. Residents we spoke with told us they do not recognize the man, but say they're shocked.
As I was going down the stairs, I live on the 3rd floor, there was just blood, lots of blood all the way down the stairs. And
police say it happened just after 11 this morning in North York on Wilmington Avenue near Shepherd Avenue.
Police arrived and located a male and a female, both in their 50s. The male had life-threatening stab wound. The female had non-life-threatening injuries.
Police confirmed the pair were married, but did not say if the suspect lived in the building or had a connection to the victims.
A third male, approximately years of age, was located at the scene and taken into custody.
Residents tell us the man who died was the building's superintendent.
it's kind of shocking. I mean, for somebody to get that angry with the super to kill him.
And he's been here for like maybe over 2 years. He's a very nice man. He takes good care of the building, and we never had this issue before. So I'm very sad to hear and shocked actually of what.
This woman arrived home to see her building surrounded by police tape.
In fact, this morning when I was leaving the apartment, he was cleaning the leaves, you know, with the blower. So, and I'm shocked to hear these news, you know.
Investigators have not told residents when they'll be allowed back inside. And police have been going in and out all afternoon collecting evidence, and residents are still waiting outside at this hour to find out when they can get back inside. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst. Nathan, back to you.
All right, thank you, Allison. That incident is one of several stabbings reported across the city over the last 24 hours, including one early this morning in Scarborough. Just after 1:30, officers were called to the Markham and Eglinton area. They found a woman in her 30s with life-threatening injuries and a male youth with non-life-threatening injuries. They were both rushed to hospital. A man in his 40s was arrested. Police have not said if or how the suspect and victims know each other.
Police are also investigating a stabbing overnight in the Moss Park area. 52 Division confirms it received a call to Queen Street East and Sherbourne Street. Emergency crews found a man suffering from non-life-threatening injuries at the scene. He's now recovering in hospital. So far, no arrests have been made.
Toronto police say they've arrested a suspect in a number of sex assaults downtown. On Monday, police say a man approached the victim near King and Shaw Street and sexually assaulted them. A similar incident was reported Tuesday night near Brunswick and Sussex Avenue. Investigators shared photos of the suspect, hoping to find him. They say a 36-year-old man is now in custody. We're awaiting word on what charges he may face.
A warning about some of the disturbing details in this next story.
Proceedings at the sexual assault trial of former fashion mogul Peter Nygaard continue. CTV's John Musselman reports.
Today, the jury heard more testimony from the first complainant, who alleges that she was sexually assaulted by Nygaard inside his Toronto office complex in the late 1980s. She told the court she was not able to reopen a bedroom door located on the top floor after she entered the suite with Nygaard. Quote, "I tried to open it and it doesn't work for me. There were no handles." Nygaard's defense lawyer, Brian Greenspan, says the complainant's details about that door were different from a statement she gave to police in 1998. Greenspan, "You didn't see any hydraulic system to open that door?" Witness, "It could have been in the wall. I tried to open the door. The code doesn't work for me." Greenspan, "Did you ask for the code again?" Witness, "He was ignoring me. He asked me to make him a sandwich." The complainant earlier told the court that she met Nygaard after attending a yoga retreat in the Bahamas in the late 1980s. She claims she was sexually assaulted by Nygaard a few months later at his Toronto headquarters. The complainant's former roommate also testified today, telling the jury her friend was in tears after she told her about the alleged assault. "She told me that Nygaard had assaulted her. She couldn't leave and felt powerless. She was extremely upset. I remember her crying and being very upset." Nygaard is now 82 years old. He has pleaded not guilty to 5 counts of sexual assault and 1 count of forcible confinement. John Musselman, CTV News.
York Regional Police say they have dismantled a major drug ring operating out of Newmarket as part of Project Crystal. The Guns and Gangs and Drug Enforcement Unit says it seized illegal substances with an estimated street value upwards of $7 million. Investigators say they linked a street-level drug trafficking suspect back in April to a larger network. 23 search warrants were executed across the GTA, locating kilograms worth of crystal meth, fentanyl and cocaine, as well as other drugs and a firearm. 39 suspects face more than 150 combined criminal charges.
And a trio of suspects are now in custody after allegedly making off with a trove of goods in a retail robbery spree. York Regional Police say they've been investigating a large-scale theft of cosmetics in Markham back in August. They say they've recovered a combined $175,000 in personal care items and clothing. 3 people are charged with possession and trafficking of property obtained by crime.
A boy is facing criminal charges after an apparent hit and run in Fort Erie. On Friday, Niagara police were called to a crash that left one driver seriously hurt and saw the second vehicle allegedly flee. Officers later found a suspect vehicle and figured out it was stolen from a home earlier in the day. On Monday, they say the same suspect stole a motorcycle from the home before abandoning it the day afterwards. A 13-year-old boy related to the vehicle owners faces 2 counts of theft of motor vehicle and 1 of failing to stop at the scene of an accident.
To Queen's Park next, where the state of Ontario's hospital system's at the center of attention.
Calls for a boost in funding as the labor unrest also grows. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has more.
Their emergency department was shut down in June, converted to urgent care. But residents of Minden are refusing to give up.
They have the capability to reverse this decision, and they will reverse the decision. It's just we got to push them to it.
A group was at Queen's Park to hand over a new batch of signatures, greater than the number of people who live in Minden.
You know, that's just a sign of, how much this issue matters to so many people.
Porzuchek says those people are suffering, including a cottager who died of a heart attack this summer en route to the nearest ER 20 minutes away.
If he was able to be given care in the Minden Hospital, to be given the medications to help stop and stabilize the heart attack,
he might have lived.
And that's something that's on the conscience of this government. But it's not just Minden, it's rural hospitals across this province.
Hospitals and communities are feeling hopeful after the Premier's reversal on the Greenbelt.
Right now, he needs positive publicity. One of the best ways is start investing in public health care.
Unions representing some 90,000 hospital workers are also pushing for more funding. They're teaming up, a show of solidarity as they prepare to negotiate new contracts.
We're going to be calling on the provincial government to add beds, to add staff, and in our bargaining, we'll be pursuing measures like nurse-to-patient ratios.
With workers who are exhausted, struggling to keep up at work and at home, unions say they'll be prepared to
take extraordinary action, if necessary, to win gains for hospital workers and to protect our collective agreements from efforts to undermine patient care.
Hospital workers can't launch a full strike, but other job action could be possible. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Vaughan has become the second municipality in Canada to sign on to a program designed to fast-track new housing.
The agreement will allow for high-density development near public transit, including GO train and subway stations. It'll prioritize apartment buildings and affordable housing, and it will amend a zoning bylaw to allow for the construction of up to 4 residential units on a single lot.
The city's reached an agreement with the federal government to receive over $59 million from the Housing Accelerator Fund. Officials say it will help speed up the construction of more than 1,700 housing units over the next 3 years and more than 40,000 homes during the next decade. Vaughan is expected to welcome 7,700 new residents each year over the next 30 years.
The Canadian government has been told to reduce our diplomatic staff in India by next Tuesday. New Delhi wants the number of staffers brought to a level on par with the number of Indian diplomats in Canada. Relations between the two countries have deteriorated after Prime Minister Trudeau said recently there's credible evidence India may have been involved in the killing of a Canadian Sikh separatist leader in Vancouver.
There's international condemnation following what Ukraine calls a brutal Russian crime. At least 51 civilians were killed in an attack on a village today. 6 other people were injured when a missile struck a store and a cafe during a wake in the northeast of the country. Ukrainian officials say there were no military targets in the village that's home to about 300 people. It's near a town recaptured by Ukrainian forces late last year. During a summit in Spain today, President Volodymyr Zelensky reiterated his call for air defenses.
I believe that today it is impossible to protect people, especially during the winter, except by air defense. To protect people who died absolutely tragically because of this inhuman terrorist attack. 50 civilians were killed during the funeral. Russia does this every day in the Kharkiv region, and only air defense can help.
Zelensky attended the summit of almost 50 European leaders as he sought more military aid for Ukraine. They stressed their support at a time when Western resolve appears weakened in some quarters.
After our fall heat wave this week, it's perhaps hard to dispute this. 2023 is on track to become the hottest year since at least 1940. The global average temperature for January to September was 1.4 degrees higher than the pre-industrial period. Europe's climate agency also says temperatures in September represented the warmest margin above average for a month in more than 80 years. A Norwegian author has been chosen this year's recipient of the Nobel Prize in Literature. Jan Fosse is being recognized for his innovative plays and prose. The Nobel Committee says his works give voice to the unsayable. Fosse has written about 40 plays and is best known for his dramas, but he also has done poetry, essays, and children's books.
Torontonians may get to see a rare phenomena in the sky next week. A solar eclipse is set for October 14th. The moon passes by the sun but does not completely block it, creating a ring of fire effect. But it's crucial to wear specialized eye protection meant for solar viewing. Looking through sunglasses, a camera lens, binoculars, or a telescope will cause instant severe eye injury.
Also tonight, the Blue Jays fail to take flight in the postseason, eliminated by the Twins in short order. What went wrong as the season ends in widespread frustration?
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, when you're online, you may see all kinds of amazing deals pop up on your social media feeds, but how can you be sure they're legit? Some companies are offering massive discounts on products. We check them out. I'll have some cyber advice. That's just ahead.
We have a rainy night ahead, but it's been a dry fall so far. In fact, over the last 3 weeks, we've had less than 2 millimeters of rain, 0 in October so far. In September, we only had about 11 millimeters, which was well below average. We're forecasting anywhere from about 15 to 25 millimeters of rain overnight tonight. Some areas could see even more than that, and you're going to want to keep the umbrella handy right through the long weekend. Your forecast is coming up. Stay with us, and we've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and along with fake texts and email, you should also watch out for fake ads selling products.
Many of these pitches are bogus, and either the item doesn't exist or it's of such poor quality it may not be worth buying. Pat Foran has this Consumer Alert. Pat.
That's right, Michelle and Nathan. Whenever you're on social media, you'll see ads for all kinds of things: clothing, air fryers, and fire pits. While some of the ads may be legitimate, many of them are not, and there are some red flags to watch out for.
I hate being scammed.
Errol Welsh of Caledon says he was thinking of buying a mobility scooter as he was starting to have some issues getting around.
I'm 74 years old and my legs are not in the best shape. And I know eventually I'm going to need one.
Welsh saw several ads for mobility scooters selling at huge discounts on social media. He bought one in April for $48, but never received it. He was told there was an issue with shipping and he would get a refund, so he bought another scooter for $75, but it didn't come either.
I keep on asking for my refund and I can't get anything.
Companies such as Lowe's have had to fight back against fake ads that show products with massive discounts. Bed Bath & Beyond went bankrupt this year, and some ads claim to be selling their merchandise. But the Better Business Bureau issued a warning saying, you see an online ad and the website you're directed to looks legit, but if you look at the domain name or email address, it reveals you aren't on the official sites.
Is it possible for this product to be discounted at 80, 90%, or is that maybe something that looks a little unrealistic?
A digital marketing agency that helps businesses with online advertising says watch out for red flags such as extremely low prices and no customer service number to call. Avoid clicking on ad links, go directly to the company's website, and research where the product will ship from.
Try to take on deals that are local. Try to pay attention. Is the seller willing to meet you or get on the phone with you?
Also, watch out for messages saying you have an order to pick up when you don't. I got one from Staples. The company said it's aware of the phishing scam and said a legitimate order confirmation from Staples Canada will come from a Staples Canada domain address and will pertain to an actual order placed by a customer. As for Welsh, he was concerned the scooter deal was too good to be true and plans to be more careful in the future.
I just want the public to be aware it's a scam.
And you should be careful clicking on any pop-up ads that could contain viruses. It might be downloaded onto your computer or phone. The best advice is to deal with reputable retailers through their website that you find yourself. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
It's going to be a long offseason for the Toronto Blue Jays and their fans.
Base hit into center field. Lewis scores. The bases remain loaded.
For the second straight season, the Jays were swept in the wild card series. Minnesota blanked Toronto 2-0 in Game 2 yesterday, and some questionable decisions have left many fans angry and bewildered. A potential key moment came in the fifth when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was picked off at second base to end the inning with a teammate on third. But what everyone is really talking about is starter Jose Barrios being pulled from the game after just 47 pitches, despite a very strong performance. The Twins quickly scored the only 2 runs they would need.
You can sit here and, second guess me, second guess the organization, second guess anybody. I get that, I get that. And it's tough. And it didn't work out for us.
Right after they take me out, I feel like, bad because I want to keep going out there. But then I say we have to enjoy it. We're here. We're still playing the sport we love.
The general consensus among the experts is that Barrios was pulled because of a predetermined front office plan based on analytics.
Well, with the Jays out, the Maple Leafs are now in the spotlight.
Watch by Nye, slot, Anderson scores!
Toronto opens the regular season at home Wednesday night against Montreal. But first, there are 2 more exhibition games. The Leafs host Detroit tonight before playing the Red Wings on the road Saturday.
And as the leaves are falling off the trees, the weather is actually more feeling appropriate now. It was warm and really nice for this time of year today, but we're going to be seeing the shift in short order.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to, normal fall weather over the next few weeks.
As we say goodbye to the boys of summer, we also say goodbye to our extended summer. First, in the form of the sun disappearing today. We had a pretty cloudy one. Tonight, we are looking at rain. And by this weekend, you will be getting out the flannel and the sweaters because it's suddenly going to be feeling a lot cooler around here. Weather is brought to you by Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train. We will begin with a look at the satellite and radar. Yeah, it's pretty cloudy around the GTA, and a few showers are inching closer to the east end over Lake Ontario. And then as we widen out, you can see the bulk of the precipitation already impacting areas like Woodstock, Kitchener-Waterloo, inching closer to the Orangeville area and creeping into Muskoka as well. This is a cold front that's going to slice through tonight. It will bring us gusty winds, that rainfall, and yes, it is going to trigger the start of a cool down that will continue through the weekend. Here's the timing. By the time we reach about 8:30 tonight, we're in it. Overnight, this is when the bulk of the precipitation will fall. Waking up tomorrow morning, still likely to be dealing with some wet weather. It is going to clear, though. There's a chance of maybe an additional round of showers for your Friday afternoon, but late afternoon and evening, further clearing, sunshine. It's not going to be all bad. Here's the thing, though, pretty unsettled through the weekend. On and off wet weather into your Saturday, certainly into your Sunday, and possibly Monday as well. Even a little bit of blue at the top of the screen there. That's northern Ontario. That could get into some wet snowflakes. What a change from the last day or so. Yesterday, we had record highs once again. We made it to a high of 27.9 in the city of Toronto. Still decently warm. It's 24 degrees right now, feeling like 28. Overnight tonight, we dropped to a low near 17. Waking up, once again, you may still need the umbrella, and then you need the sweaters as we make our way into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Highs are going to struggle to make it into double-digit territory. And look at those overnight lows, around 6 degrees at times. That's your look at the forecast for now. Nathan, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, when a long weekend is upon us, we typically talk about the price of gas going up. But this Thanksgiving weekend, you can feast on a Friday drop. How low is the price set to go?
Toronto concert goers hoping to see SZA's show last night were faced with a last-minute cancellation. Just minutes before doors were supposed to open at Scotiabank Arena, the singer posted an Instagram story saying she had done a sound check and it didn't go well. She's dealing with illness. The venue later said SZA's show was being postponed to an unspecified future date. In
Hollywood, striking actors and studios have agreed to keep negotiating. SAG-AFTRA and the Alliance, representing studios and streamers, say they met for a full-day bargaining session yesterday, and they'll do the same thing both tomorrow and Monday. The Screen Actors Guild has indicated it's fighting for a new 3-year contract with promises on AI restrictions and streaming profits. Similar terms were included in the successful Writers Guild contract talks.
Drake is out with a new music video featuring a special guest.
We gotta talk about us. I feel like Jordan Peele. Could tell I'm getting under your skin like an orange peel.
The Toronto singer posted on social media yesterday sharing a video of his 5-year-old son Adonis. It soon transitioned into his new single titled 8 a.m. in Charlotte. The track is expected to be part of Drake's delayed LP For All the Dogs. It's out tomorrow, the first of 2 nights Drake is performing at Scotiabank Arena.
And Metrolinx is getting in on the hype ahead of those shows. They share designs for Drake-themed infrastructure, including its all-a-blur station and a GO Train-colored yellow and black, colors associated with Drake's OVO brand. The transit agency says these are just designs, but they're aimed at encouraging concert-goers to take transit.
Stars Tonight is brought to you by Lastman's Bad Boy. Who's better? Nobody.
It's clear from this report he didn't understand what a conflict of interest was.
Updating our top stories, Toronto's Integrity Commissioner says former Mayor John Tory violated the city's code of conduct by engaging in a personal relationship with a staffer in the summer of 2020. The report also cited issues with him taking part in council votes relating to the FIFA World Cup after the staffer left to work at a linked company. Tory, who resigned over the matter, said he accepts he should have handled it differently.
Told them that I love them very much and that Mom's not going to be coming home.
CTV News spoke exclusively with the husband of Caroline Hubner-Macarat. The 44-year-old wife and mother were struck and killed by a stray bullet on July 7th in what police say was a robbery that escalated into gun violence. Adrian Macarat says as he grieves, he's showing his daughters the world their mother would want them to see.
He's a very nice man. He takes good care of the building.
And a homicide investigation is underway after a stabbing this morning in North York. It happened just after 11 on Wilmington Avenue near Shepherd. Police say a married couple were stabbed and a suspect in his 70s is now in custody.
On the markets, the Canadian dollar is up 1/5 cent to 72.95 US. American benchmark oil losing $1.91, closing at 82.31 a barrel. And the TSX Composite Index rising 103 points, ending the day at 19,137.81.
If you're planning on filling up your gas tank ahead of the long weekend, you might want to wait until tomorrow. Dan McTagg with Canadians for Affordable Energy says gas prices across the GTA should drop by around 6 cents a liter at midnight. That would bring the total for a liter of regular to just under $1.50. The last time prices were that low was all the way back on April 1st. McTagg linked the price decline to, quote, nervous energy markets south of the border.
A major grocery store chain's apologizing after a shopper purchased chicken that was already past its best before date. Our online team has the details on the incident, which the grocery store says was a result of mislabeling. Their full response and details on how this situation unfolded are on our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
Tonight, taking stock of the promise of lower food bills. The pledge from Canada's top grocery chains, from price freezes to price matching. But will Canadians actually see some relief? That's later on CTV National News. See you then.
The next time you're traveling along the waterfront, you may spot a new piece of artwork.
The city unveiled a new project commemorating the legacy of athlete, activist, and humanitarian Terry Fox.
If you look at that piece of art, you see Terry in his absence. And his absence is just physical. He's very present in his spirit.
3 granite slabs stand next to the Toronto Music Garden on Queen's Quay. The staggered structures are aligned in a way that they cast a silhouette of a young Terry Fox before he was diagnosed with cancer.
While researching for this project, I remember being awestruck
by the images of Terry Fox running along the Trans-Canada Highway against a backdrop of these towering rock cuts. And so for our stone slabs, we wanted the granite obstacles to kind of hint at the scale and the ruggedness of that landscape.
To actually be here and sit in that position and look and see Terry's outline for real was incredibly emotional.
Fox's brother Daryl said he hopes the artwork inspires people to ask what they can do to help others in their own lives, including contributing to the fight against cancer.
Amazing piece of work. Let's talk about the forecast. So rain's on the way.
It is. I think a lot of lawns around the GTA could use it. We'll take one more look at the satellite and radar to show you those showers creeping in. The heavier rain will fall through the overnight hours tonight and into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we're looking at a high of 22 degrees. Still above seasonal, just not as hot as it's been, not record-breaking by any means. There's your long weekend forecast. And as we look even further in the 7-day, more in the way of cloud cover and generally cooler conditions overall. Nathan and Misha.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. Be sure to join Sandy Ronaldo tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zarada Allman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay and all of us at CTV News, thank you for watching and have a good night.